What is going on today, guys? It's AU here, and today we're bringing you a pretty long video. It's been a minute. I was sick for about a week. I had a bye week, so this is delayed even more because there was a whole week I didn't play a game. I had crazy work with school. I just haven't had a lot of time to edit these videos and stuff, which is why today I've waited till I played all my playoff games, and we're just gonna do a big bulk watch of my playoff games all in one video. It's also why there's not a layout, because I don't have time to edit a 30-minute or 45-minute long episode. But I did want to make sure that I got the episode out there, that way people knew how the season ended. So I ended up the season 8-1. I was the 2 seed going in. Like I said, I had a bye, and that was nice for me solely because I got this matchup round 1. This matchup round 1 was like insanely good for me. For playoffs for this league, they were best of 3, so that's why this video is going to be a little bit longer, because I have 3 games for this game and the other sets have at least 2 games. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna really just jump right into it. Right off the bat, you'll see that this is a team that we faced before in regular season. This is Shadow. He was like our week 3 or 4 game, something around there. He had a hail team, and to be honest, his matchup against us was actually pretty horrible. There wasn't much he could do with it, especially with this version of our team. Our old version of the team, he still had a pretty bad matchup against, but he doesn't have Arc Gazult anymore, so I don't have to worry about that with Moltres, right? Or Licky Licky. I can kind of EV. He picked up a lull in Sand Slash, and I can EV both of them to take hits from it. And now I also have webs, so like with webs up, most of my team is going to be faster anyways, just because Flush Rushers are just pretty slow in general and pretty bad. Not really great Pokemon altogether. But I don't really even remember what my sets were. A lot of these plays I'll probably just try to explain on the fly, because I don't remember what I did a whole lot. But you'll see that he didn't bring the hell version of his team to game 1, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into it. And I don't know what I led. It looks like I probably should have led either Nidoking or Lycanroc-dusk based off of his team, but I have no idea what I led. Okay, I did lead Lycanroc-dusk. He leads Tornadus. That was what I was scared of. And then I scout for the superpower. I thought, because the last time I just stayed in and set rocks in regular season, I stayed in on the Tornadoes and set rocks on it. I felt like he was gonna have a way hit it, so I went into Moltres, because I think we were especially defensive Moltres this set, to try to live Kyurem hits and kind of deal with that Salazzle. But we get the burn on the superpower. He knocks off. That's whatever. I'm not too scared of rocks with the team. Now that it's burned, I know I can go into Lycanroc and I can kind of just do work with it. We read the Fire Fang on the Skarmory. I think I was Swords Dance, but the problem was I wasn't Crunch, so I didn't have the best way to hit that Slowking, which was something I changed later on in the set. But we go straight into Moltres, trying to make sure we can defog on rocks or something. He just roosts, he U-turn out on the Torn. He knocks off our Life Orb, but we get rocks up here, which is fine because this now pressures Salazzle and Kyurem and Tornadus all coming in. He misses the Hurricane, which kind of sucks. He wasn't fully invested, so it wouldn't have killed there, but it would have helped him out later on in the game for sure. We go into Kyoshi here just because we're especially defensive. Well, we're physically defensive to Kyoshi, but his special defense is like through the roof, and Thorn wasn't going to do that much to it. So we get the webs up. We Quiver Dance up on the Slowking. We didn't have anything to hit the Skarmory, which was the issue with this set. Like, Rabambi doesn't get any great coverage for Skarmory, so we kind of got greedy here. I feel like I should have just attacked the Slowking here, but he teleports out into Skarmory, and we just can't hit it. So I think we go for like Bug Buzz or something, and it does 32. Like, it does a decent amount of damage, and it gives us a switch into Nidoking or Moltres one. Yeah, Nidoking. Nidoking can kind of pressure the team now that webs are up and stuff. So Thunderbolt doesn't do a ton to the Slowking because our Life Orb got knocked off, which kind of sucks. But all Slowking really is Calm Mind bait for this Latias. So almost every time the Slowking comes out, Gladius is going to come out instead of a Calm Mind. Crook comes out. I don't think we had Aura Sphere this set. I think we had Sword Power and Dragon Pulse. So we didn't have the best way to hit this Crook. He goes for the knockoff. He has to hit it twice, which, oh yeah, because he's already knocked off our boots. If he hadn't already knocked off our boots, at knockoff actually would have killed. But since he has to hit us twice, he does get flame bodied again. Lycanroc comes out. We just CC that. There's not really a great Lycanroc switch in right now, because Skarmory would have got 2-hit KO'd by that CC. So he couldn't really switch that in. This Latias also walls the Skarmory because it is physically defensive, so we can set up Calm Minds on Skarmory and on Slowking. And at this point, there's not much he can do to stop it. Like, we can just recover here. Actually, we just Calm Mind again. And then we can recover. He does get rid of the webs, which is a little annoying, because that means like things like Kyurem are going to be faster than us now if they're not boots. Well, if they're Scarf, you know, because they won't be at -1 Scarf. So Scarf Kyurem could outspeed us, but at this point we're like +3. There's not much that he's doing to the Latias, and I think pretty soon he does just end up forfeiting the game just because there's not. Yeah, we stored power here. Take the future side, it does 5. I think he. Okay, so we Dragon Pulse here. This game, it actually goes on longer than I thought. I thought he forfeited a little bit earlier than this. We recover. Did we heal Bell? I think we heal Bell. Yeah, we go into Licky Licky. We had heal Bell on the set, so we got rid of the Toxic because I knew that the one way he was going to beat Calm Mind Latias was with Toxic. So we're able to just go back out into Latias. He makes the double into Kyurem, which really is not a huge thing. Licky Licky kind of just deals with it. I was surprised he wasn't Specs or Scarf. That was crazy to me. And this is where I remember these turns. This is where it got a little bit tricky, right? Because you were seeing it takes 2 seismic tosses to kill a substitute, which is like crazy. I did not think that was going to be the case, but it takes 2 seismic tosses to kill a substitute here. So I think if he went for Earth Power here, I think I actually probably lost the game. Just because it did take 2 seismic tosses. Because I have to go into Lycanroc here, basically. Because if he subs again, I have to break the sub with the Accelerock and then go into Latias and kill with Dragon Pulse. But if he Earth Powered the Lycanroc, I don't think there was anything I could do to stop this from actually beating my team. But he does sub on this turn. I think it was a little bit of a passive play. I think he was in the driver's seat then and should have just went for damage or whatever. But we make the aggressive play, we get it right, and Dragon Pulse picks up that KO. I just start Calm Minding, and then he eventually forfeits, just because he didn't want to show off his sets for game 2 and 3 more than he had to, which is completely fine, and it makes a lot of sense. It's best of 3. But in game 2, he brings a little bit of a different team. I bring the exact same team. I think I might have put Crunch on the Lycanroc. I think that's one change I did make, but I brought the same 6. I think I even put Focus Sash on Rabambi because we were boots last game. And this is where I was kind of a little bit surprised because I knew he had a Alolan Sandslash. But for some reason when I looked at the doc, it didn't click with me that Alolan Sandslash was on his team. I just kind of put it in to my team building doc, and I prepped for Ninetales over Aurora's, which may not seem like a huge deal, like because Aurora's, you know, isn't technically considered that great, but it still kind of threw me off a little bit, and there's a play in here that you'll see why it threw me off a little bit, but yeah, it was just weird. It was a weird thing to see, especially when. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think that picked up on the recording, but that was loud. I didn't turn the sound off. But we get the webs up, and like I said, we do change the sash. We get the stun spore off. He gets really unlucky with paralysis. I remember this. He gets really unlucky with paralysis, and we kind of just seismic toss him for a little bit here. he gets like 3 or 4 paralysis turns right here at the very beginning. Basically, Torn's almost dead at this point. Crook comes out, and we switching to Moltres. I think I was trying to predict a Armory, which was weird. I don't know why my switch was Moltres there. But we come out into Toph, we Fire Fang, we get another burn. He's gotten pretty unlucky with the burns this set for sure. We Swords Dance up, we Roost, and how did he get out of this? Body Press doesn't kill us because he's burned. I don't know how he. Maybe I don't have Crunch this set. I don't think I do have Crunch. I think I still have CC. Or I still have Fire Fang. I don't remember which one I switched, but if I had Crunch here, it was like game over. I think that's why I put Crunch on for game 3. But this is the same thing. We come out, we got burned, which is actually good for Calm Mind sets because that means you can't get toxic. So I was fine with getting burned. It actually helped me more than it hurt me. But now Trick Room kind of messed me up. I'm not gonna lie. We didn't have the best switch-ins to this Crook. Even though it's not doing a lot to Licky Licky. It could have superpower. Maybe it could CC. It could CC or superpower, one of the two. And we go for the Wish. I don't know why he switched out there. But he did. This goes for superpower. That's kind of whatever. We go for the Silent Toss. We get rid of the Torn, which is pretty big. Then the Sand Slash comes in. We just go into Moltres. Rapid Spin. Does he get burned? He does not get burned. But this always pressures that out. He went for Triple Axle, which is bold. He must have been Protective Pads if he clicked Triple Axle in front of a Moltres, because you could just click Rock Slide. That was a very bold play. Very, very bold play. But Nidoking comes out. He keeps getting the Trick Room up, which is still, still messing me up a little bit. And we go for the Thunderbolt again, just trying to punish him for staying in with Slowking there. If we didn't die to a Scald, I assume we would. And this is why I kind of got messed up by not prepping. One, yeah, I think even if I prepped for it, I would have forgotten it got Meteor Beam anyways. Meteor Beam is one of those moves that I kind of just forget exists. I'm not gonna lie. It's just one of those things where, like, I know about Triple Axle and all that stuff, but Meteor Beam I don't see enough to remember that Pokemon can have that move, and the fact that it just raises your special attack it kind of messed me up. Maybe if I saw this in prep, I would have looked at this move set and realized, but there's no guarantee. I don't think it ended up mattering too much. I did it. I was surprised that didn't kill. I'm not gonna lie. I was really surprised that didn't kill. And at this point, we've kind of lost our Pokemon to be able to win this game. The only way we're gonna win this is if I can get some Calm Minds up with Latias, survive a Trick Room, and deal with things that way. But there was really no hope. I was surprised he didn't just set Trick Room there. I felt like Trick Room just was, always winning there. And this is actually where the burn does play in, because we do just die to burn there. If we didn't get burned, we wouldn't have died. But it's kind of whatever. I was surprised the Crook didn't die to that Dragon Pulse. But we see that it was actually Scarf. No, it wasn't Scarf Crocodile. Crocodile was just faster. And that was Life Orb. But then we go down to Hell there. So that was game 2. It was a little bit rougher just because I didn't expect the Trick Room. Trick Room was a cool bring. And then Meteor Beam completely caught me off guard. But for game 3, I'd made a couple of changes because I figured he was ready for this version of the team. So I'll make a couple more changes. I went with Scarf Latias, just because I didn't want to have to rely on webs getting up this time. Because if webs are up, things like Crook are faster than things like Nidoking and Trick Room. So if I can just not have to set webs, then he can't abuse the webs with his Trick Room, with his Crocodile and things. So I went with Scarf Latias. I remember I put like Draco Psychic, Aura Sphere, and maybe Healing Wish on it. But Aura Sphere was the big one because Aura Sphere just seemed to have coverage for most of his team. I also put Crunch on Lycanroc because he figured out that my Lycanroc couldn't touch his Slowking. So Slowking and Skarmory could double as like pretty decent switch-ins to it. So I put Crunch on that. And I don't really remember what any more changes that I made. Oh, I also put Metagross on the team. What did I switch? Nidoking. I took Nidoking off. Nidoking just didn't feel like it was doing a lot, so I took Nidoking off and I put Metagross on, just to kind of give myself more priority for the Trick Room turns and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and jump in this game. I think I don't even know what I lead. I lead Metagross, which is a fine lead. Body Press doesn't do that much. We just get our rocks up here. I think he just ends up defogging them away the next turn. But it does give us some free momentum when Moltres, because Skarmory just always has out. So we get a U-turn out, go into lycanroc-dusk. We figure out he's about max HP, because I was adamant lycanroc-dusk this game. The other games I was jolly, I switched it to adamant this game. So we figure out he's around max HP on his Torn there. And we don't have Fire Fang. I did take off Fire Fang for Crunch, so we had to just spam CC for the Skarmory switch-ins, which was kind of tough. It was definitely worse than Fire Fang for sure. But it still forced him into roosting a good amount of times, which means that we got free switches in to Moltres and stuff without having to take a hit. Then we could just U-turn out. The biggest part was we had to figure out how to make progress on this Skarmory and stuff. So we U-turn out, probably back into lycanroc-dusk. Skarmory comes back out. We Excel Rock. Like I said, we have to figure out how to make progress on the Skarmory. And I know, looking at the team without the Slowking there, that Scarflatius can actually like clean up. So we're basically trying to figure out a way to either kill Skarmory or kill Slowking, which right now is proven pretty difficult to do. But he goes for the Brave Bird. I go for the U-turn like we have for the past couple turns, just because it's free on the Skarmory with Moltres. It's really free. And we Excel Rock here, and here I kind of misplayed. Like I said, I think I kind of misplayed here, because if you'll remember earlier in the game, I stayed in on Torn with this Lycanroc and I Excel Rock, and it did die, and then I got knocked. So my Expert Belt got knocked off. When I ran this calc, I ran Adamant Expert Belt, which meant I always O-code with Crunch. So when I stayed in without the Expert Belt, I was under the impression that I always killed, but in reality, I think it was like a 30% chance to kill or something like that. So like, it was in his favor. It was definitely in his favor, but we crit, so the rolls didn't even matter. Which kind of sucks for him, because without this thing, like I said before, Scarflatius just kind of went to town, and this crit, if he had lived here and this died, then the game might have been a little bit different. All I know is that he did go for Trick Room on this turn, so you know, it's a little bit iffy on how the game would have played out. I think if he scalded here, it would have been a lot easier for him, but since he did go for Trick Room on this turn, I can't really say how the game would have ended up playing out, but it was definitely the crit, and this dying was definitely hard for him for sure. But you can see we do get the crit. It does go down, and then Torn comes out. There's not much that you can really do. I'm just trying to position Latias at this point to be able to come in. The knock comes off. I can see that it's not banded. We can just kind of stay in and seismic toss this thing, just because it can't get health back, so why not just stay in. He does CC. I figured that he would probably have it because he couldn't break it last game, but that's fine. We just come in, we click CC again, and like I said, we're just trying to get Latias in. So for the next couple turns, we're just positioning ourselves. Moltres is free. I'm surprised he didn't try to make more aggressive doubles on this Moltres, just because for the past 3 games, he's seen that I've brought Moltres in on Skarmory every single time, and the same sequence keeps happening where I just U-turn out. We go into Metagross. He goes for Tailwind. I just stall out the Tailwind turns, basically. He goes for Knock. That's kind of whatever. I go for Thunder Punch. I probably, honestly, like looking back at the game, I probably could have just, you know, tried to stall it out a little bit more. But I think I was still Sash Rabambi, so I still didn't have to worry about tailwind turns too much because I knew I always could waste one with Rabambi. Lycanroc-dusk comes back out, Skarmory comes back out. Did I double? Honestly, I was talking about him doubling. I probably should have been doubling, because it gives me better positioning. It would have meant that rocks stayed up. Not that rocks were like a huge deal, but Latias comes out, and at this point we can just spam Aura Sphere because both his fighting resist are gone. And he will soon find out that we're Scarf, because Scarf Latias can outspeed Flush Rush, Sand Slash. So we outspeed there, we kill with Aura Sphere, and then it's pretty much just game over at that point. We just keep Aura Sphering, and then the Skarmory is gonna come out, and we just Aura Sphere that thing down, and we end up winning the first best of 3, which means we are in the semifinals at this point, of the playoff run. And our semifinals matchup was a lot tougher than our quarterfinals matchup, and I mean a lot tougher. Our quarterfinals matchup, we had about I would say about an 80-20 matchup. There was not much that I think Shadow could have done to win that best of 3. Maybe 70-30. It was definitely heavily in our favor. But when it comes to this matchup, man, like it was brutal. It was a brutal thing to try to prep for, just because Mamoswine, Suicune, Dragapult, Hawlucha, he had a Tapu Bulu. There's a couple more things that he had that weren't even like on this team of 6 that he brought, but it was tough. Suicune was the main problem, because I felt like if Rest, Calm Mind, Suicune came, I just kind of lost the game, because my physical attacking Pokemon that could, try to break it was either Bandit CC from Urshifu or Bandit Thwackey, which is both things that I brought. And the tough part about Urshifu was he has, not on this pace particularly, but he, on his team in general, he had a lot of fighting resist and the one immunity in Dragapult. And Dragapult being the immunity is kind of scary, because you don't want to ever let that thing in for free, because DD Dragapult gave me issues. Special Dragapult was fine, I could deal with Special Dragapult, but DD Dragapult gave me issues, and I never wanted to give it that free turn of setup. So that was tough. And Hawlucha is a tough thing to prepare for, just basically because you have to make sure that you save your win con, which for me was Latias against the Hawlucha. Metagross didn't come just because Suicune basically hardwalls that thing. Lycanroc didn't come just because Suicune basically hardwalls that thing. Maybe SD post combat could have done something. It just didn't seem like a great call, especially since it always just let in Hawlucha to kind of do whatever it wanted to, especially since the Grass Berry ups defense. So Excel Rock wasn't even like helping that much. Bandit Aqua Jet just kind of helped a little bit more, in my opinion. So it was tough. I feel like I probably could have prepped a little bit better. I don't think my prep was the strongest. But it was a rough matchup for sure. I was kind of just hoping to keep pressure up the whole game, but as you'll see, right off the lead, I kind of was just losing right off lead, because he led Hawlucha, and I had EV'd my Latias to be able to take Hawlucha hits, unburden Hawlucha hits, but then he shows Mold Breaker Life Orb, and that just threw me off. And you can see it's just, had I put like 16 more EVs into my defense, I would have been able to deal with this Hawlucha pretty easily. But since I didn't prep for Life Orb, because I never expected Life Orb, it automatically just puts me in a tough spot. It just starts kind of breaking through my team. So I kind of just have to let it hope for a burn here. I didn't get it. And I just kind of let it kill itself. I tried to hope for a burn again, didn't get it. And with this thing, and this this particular pace, Moltres wasn't huge of a thing to try to keep. But then I go into Thwacky again, try to Grassy Glide. He shows Helmet on the Dragapult, which was weird. I thought Suicune would just come Helmet just because like deals with Urshifu pretty well. Helmet Dragapult was kind of you know, like it didn't. It was, to me, it was not better than Helmet Suicune. But then the Suicune comes out. He is a toxic set. You know, Shadow Ball, things like that. I couldn't call mine just because he already toxic me. I had to heal Bell at some point. Absol came out. Surprisingly, this thing gave me a hard time for whatever reason. I didn't really prep for this Absol. I didn't think Absol was coming. Kind of weird. I guess it makes sense because it's faster than Latias, and is immune to like sword power and stuff. But it was just weird. We did opt to go for Surging Strikes there, since I figured out his Rocky Helmet user was Dragapult. But with Licky Licky gone, we didn't really have a Dragapult switch in. Like we basically we got out pressured this game for the most part. Like this team just was able to put so much pressure on the pace that I brought, that it was just his walls were able to wall my Pokemon better than my walls were able to wall his Pokemon, which was also tough, because our team dynamic is kind of the same, and we have a couple bulky Pokemon, a couple designated walls, and then a couple designated attackers and stuff like that. It's just his walled mine better than mine walled his, and he definitely prepped pretty well for the game. At this point, I could have resigned just to save sets, but he kind of just knew them already, so we kind of just played it out, just because. But yeah, it was a tough game, and I kind of just decided to not really change anything for the next team per se. Just I think I might have put Scarf Latios on. I don't remember if I did or not. I kind of just wanted to make sure that, like I said before, I tried to keep the pressure up, which I was not able to do the last game because I just kind of lost on lead. So I tried to get the lead right, and my game plan was just kind of try to make some aggressive doubles, try to, you know, keep the pressure up, and stuff like that. And this whole set in general was not my best my best work. I will say I did not play my best in this set. I did not feel like. I let Urshifu out of the gate. I will say, I still, watching this game back, and we even talked about it afterwards, Scarf Bulu kind of makes sense. In my mind, Bulu was so good in this matchup defensive. At least not choice, because choicing the Bulu here means that you're forcing yourself to make reads, because it was so easy for me to go Moltres there, right? Like so easy for me to go Moltres there. You're risking burns on Woodhammer and CC and Darkest Lariats and whatever you want. But if you're not choiced, you don't have to, you know, read Rock Slides. You could sub and beat Moltres that way, be behind a sub, hit it with a Rock Slide and stuff like that. Scarf Bulu, I guess, ends up working here, but I feel like it only worked because I thought it was such a bad set. If that makes any sense. Like in my mind, there was just never a world where this was a Scarf Bulu. Also, there was never a world where I thought he stayed in here, because I very well could have been Scarf Urshifu and Poison Jab just killed, you know. So it kind of tilted me that I feel like I got punished for not making a bad play. I don't think the play I made, I stayed in here and I Poison Jab just because I was banded. But even Scarf Poison Jab would have killed, like I said earlier. So like, just to me, staying in and Poison Jabbing was always, the play is so early into the game to where I feel like it was just, there's not much chip on my Pokemon anymore. He's obviously Unburdened Hallelujah, which means he's not going to be Life Orb, which means that my Latias is going to be able to handle it. So, you know, if you lose Bulu here, you're kind of forced to go into Hawlucha and at least do what you can with it now. because later on you're not going to be able to get the unburden boost. I guess if I had to put Thwacky on the field, you could do it later, but like, why it's weird to rely on my terrain versus, you know, just making sure that you can go ahead and do it, because there's a chance I never have to bring Thwacky out on the field. So I was a little tilted that I felt like I got punished for my opponent making a non-suboptimal play, in my opinion. And that's just, I've watched the game back, we talked it out, and I still feel like that's what happened here. It felt like a suboptimal set and a suboptimal scenario for them. But I got punished for it, and at that point losing Urshifu was kind of tough because I can't just spam banded CC anymore. So I went with the offensive Moltres this set, just because I felt like I just needed more breaking power with these Pokemon. Suicune comes out, it sets up a Calm Mind, and already I'm thinking this is gonna be tough. I kind of misplay here by going into Thwacky, but there's not much I could do with Urshifu being gone. If Urshifu was alive, I would have been able to go into Urshifu on that sub and always broke the sub and not have to waste that last turn of grassy terrain. But Draco Meteor doesn't even break sub. We have to go into Thwacky here. The other thing about Thwacky is it just gives the Suicune back recovery. It's getting leftovers and grassy terrain every single time. And then he starts pressure stalling me. At this point, I'm pretty tilted. Just because I know there's no way I can break the Suicune. Protects, stalls out terrain, subs, protects. He gets the burn on the first scald there. And I'd taken Hail Bell off my Licky, and I just went ahead and resigned just because I didn't feel like playing another, 40 turns of just sitting there watching Suicune get to +6 and Calm Mind and sub and protect and scald. Just because that's what he would have had to do, just because like scalds weren't gonna break Gladius easily. He was gonna pretty much have to get to +6 and pressure stall me out. I did not feel like playing that game. Like I said, I was pretty tilted. Me resigning here was not BM. It was just basically saving us both time. We both knew what the outcome of the game was going to be at this point. So I felt like just go ahead and getting it over with was better. He knows it wasn't BM. I was tilted for sure, but I will say I felt like I was a pretty good sport about it. Not the way I wanted the season to end. It was weird because me and the only person that beat me in regular season, both lost in semis to pretty bad matchups. And if we had swapped matchups, I think we both would have won, which is crazy. Sometimes it's just how the cards are played. But not how I wanted the season to end. I really wanted to see it through to the championship for sure. But here we are, still pretty good season. A really strong, really strong regular season. I think it's the best regular season I've ever had. I think before this, the least amount of games I've lost in a regular season was 3. And I've done that multiple seasons. I think there's been 3 seasons where I've lost 3 games in the regular season. So this is definitely the strongest regular season performance I had. This was a pretty fun team. My original version of the draft was a pretty fun team. All around, it was a pretty fun season, but this video has gotten long. I think it's about 45 minutes long now. So that is where I'm going to leave you. If you like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, which actually is going to probably be a different league with a bigger announcement. So stay tuned for that. But see ya.